is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we are going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation
Off-road edition.
All right, Richelle. Oh, no, who's up?
Okay, I've got a really good one for you guys. It is me. Okay, this is an important question, and it has been hot goss here, hot topic, because a lot of people that are here that I've met, everybody's like an entrepreneur. It's kind of like, what is the next thing? How do we make money? How do we know? And we all wanted to talk about it, and we talked about if you needed to, or maybe you just thought, I would really want to try that because it's good money. Would you do OnlyFans?
Oh. Krissy, you go.
I have had this conversation many a times. Yeah, 1,000%. You know what's funny? Even Gav and I have had serious talks about it because I already have my concept. Yeah. I probably shared this before that working at Weather Network, for some reason, there is a huge following of men that love to watch weather anchors. I don't know if it's because we're soothing and walk side to side in heels or what, and porn stars. So there'd be this huge correlation. And so you just cultivate this fan base, even though you weren't doing anything sexy, that were just really into you. And I actually worked with a woman who previously had worked for the Naked News. So I don't think they're operating anymore, but they actually had impeccable journalism and basically stripped as they did the news. And it was a for-pay thing back in the day. Their stage name was Roxanne West, but that's not their name when I worked with them. I guess it's like the OG OnlyFans, if you think about it.
Really?
In my mind, I used to always think OnlyFans, you had to get ultra naked too, whereas
it totally is.
Yeah, but not necessarily. Like some people, like for example, I don't want to be like a professional like myself, but let's say I did it in my former entity and working there and just was like stripped down in lingerie, but wasn't like buck ass naked. That air of mystery and a slow strip, there'd be a market for that shit. I mean, I wouldn't
huge market, right?
So I've naked weather. I was like, if things go tits up, then it's tits out.
You know what? And Krissy, you've got kind of like a benefit there because Laurie couldn't do that with her career because she works with children.
That gets weird. That gets real weird. Oh,
I'll just part the clouds
real issue
and
with
let
it.
out my sunshine.
And no,
can you imagine like sunshine coming out of the vagina, parting clouds over the boobs, like the graphic options.
Oh, really and truly. The problem for me would be, I don't know if I could do it mainly because I am so rebellious of people telling me what I should be doing or what they'd like me to be doing. Then I immediately repel and I'm like, nah. So having a situation where they get to request of me and that's like my job in that way, I would, everything inside would be like, well, I was gonna, but now I'm not gonna. Like that really, I just know enough of my personality.
I could just see your face.
Just like,
as soon as the comment comes in,
I'm just like, nope.
Just, all smiles and then it's just sour looks straight at it like, no.
But somebody would be into that, being like, she told me no.
Yeah, that's where I could do it. If they were like, oh, you know.
They would.
Yeah.
You could be like that restaurant where they're mean to you.
Well, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do them be mean to people. It would have to be something along the lines of like, she knows how to hold a real boundary. I like that. Like she's super kind and nice and a little funny, but when she says no, boy, does she mean it. Like that would be me.
I'm going to be honest, Laurie. I think there's a market for it. I really think there's a market for it.
It's everyone that never had any healthy boundaries. They're just looking for it. So it's like a weird sexual mother thing that they're just looking for that. Oh, okay. I've got kindness, but also boundaries.
The thing that's interesting about OnlyFans, and especially if you publicize that you're on it in any capacity, like people do have to pay to get through the gateway. So it's like, I wonder how many people trickle on and are like, fuck it, I'll pay, just to see that are the friend from high school or things like that. And then there's that part where I'm like, yeah, I'll take your money.
Right.
100%. I think about it all the time. I literally was like, well,
all the time. This is like, really? I'm genuinely asking. Oh, okay.
I dated this girl one time who got money for sending photos of her feet to this guy. And he always would respond back like, oh, that's so F hot. And I just thought that was so funny. And then I had another partner who wanted to sell their underwear online. And so like, it's been this topic of like, how do you make money without feeling like you're not in control? Like, how do we take it back and also still feel like we're empowered and making really good money? Like, I don't really want to be an influencer online. I feel like it's just not something I think I'd be super good at. But I was kind of like, if somebody wants to watch this white ass walk down the beach with a tattoo on their ass, I'll sell it, man. I'll fucking strut.
I think the tricky thing is still the like that happy medium though of not feeding into the objectification of ourselves. Right. And that's the I feel like from my perspective a bit of the tricky part is like taking your power and being empowered, but also how do you make it so that you're not continually feeding into that other aspect that's kept us held back for so fucking long that we're trying to get out from under. So it's that kind of like, well, how do you, I personally do not know the answer to that. I'm just saying that's my real concern with all of that is that not for against necessarily, but I do see a highly, a big old red flag around that aspect.
Yeah, and I hear that and I agree. And I held on to that so much, especially in my former entity. And I actually wish that I had leaned more in and like let more out, if that makes sense. Because in my mind, I'm kind of like,
no, it doesn't. Tell me more. Yeah, tell me more about like, that.
You're the idiots that would get roped in and like make me more successful kind of thing. And I already know that I'm very smart and intelligent and delivering something smart and intelligent. Because even I remember once I was on the beach and Gab posted a photo and it was literally like golden sunset and he was sitting on a beach chair. I was tanning with him and I had him take the photo down because it was my bum cheeks. I had my cheeky bum out and I was like, oh no, that can't be on there. But like, to be honest, I wish I like sexualized myself more in that time. Like,
see, I don't think that's sexualizing yourself though. I think that what you're speaking to especially is you being like, I'm not going to censor myself and my real life and my real thing because it makes you uncomfortable. I think that is very empowering because I think, like you and I, when we were topless on the beach last summer, and Chelsea and Dave, then
best birthday ever.
Yeah, best birthday ever. And we were like, we're not going to ask Dave if he's comfortable because it's not up to Dave whether or not we have our boobs out. Like, and Dave could care less. He was obviously married to me, but I'm just saying, I think that example that you gave is empowering because that's you just saying like, look, I love this photo. I'm putting it up with the best of intentions and all the above. I just see the potential of the OnlyFans kind of feeding into the societal objectification of women by it being a thing of like, I'm going to ask of you of this and I will, and it's not even that I'm against sex work or any of those things. I think everyone has a choice. I just think if you're not completely aware of why it is you're doing what you're doing, your intention, the things that you're putting out, you have to be very conscious. Otherwise, I do think it can be a slippery slope where all of a sudden you are being highly sexualized in a way that isn't about you anymore, but is about just, like I'm selling my body, but that's for males too, but there's not the whole history and stigmas around males the same way there is around females for obvious reasons. So I guess.
But if I was taking their 10,000 to 15 grand a month,
I would do it.
Just saying, I don't know that I'm above it.
No, fair.
I mean, I guess obviously to a good degree, or I'd be doing it already. I'm not afraid to get on camera. So
I honestly don't know why I haven't done it yet. I think, I think there's a time and a place when you feel like, okay, I'm ready for this. And like, what would sell? I guess I'm just like bursting with ideas on that as well.
You got to market though, because that's the thing, right? Everyone's like, ooh, I'll get on there and I'll have traction. But it's like any social media platform, same thing. Like it's not like anything, there'll be some that have an overnight success and there'll be others where it's a grind. Grind and grind.
You got to push the direction. Be like, I'm over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
What sound would scare the absolute crap out of you if you just like heard it in your home?
A tsunami siren.
Oh.
It's so daunting and it's like imminent danger. I mean, technically where we are, we don't need to be concerned about that. But if you visit the west coast of Vancouver Island or Port Alberni, what was it, 60s maybe, when a tsunami tracked through there after an earthquake in Alaska? Regardless, tsunami siren for sure.
Holy crap. That just sounds
like tsunamis are crazy. I've watched way too many documentaries. I find it so
way
fascinating.
Too many.
So many people think that it's just one big wave. For the record, it is not. But the power of water, like I stood in the beach in Tofino just recently doing a cold plunge. And as we know, I don't swim. I'm very respectful of the ocean. And even just being calf deep, the pull of the current, right? Like immediately I was like, ooh, I need to actually step closer to shore because even if I get taken down at this, it's taking me with it. So yeah, tsunami siren through and through. No, thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Tsunami, earthquake. It's daunting, super scary stuff. You don't really have a lot of time to react.
Oh, well.
On this joyful note, Laurie, what's yours?
Mine's changed. Tsunami warning. Mine has changed. Mine is more paranormal. If I heard a little kid's voice, I think because I've had paranormal things happen. So have you, Richelle.
Yep.
And not like, that can be explained away, like evidence paranormal, like handprints on me, those kind of things. And then really also really, really creepy sounds. And I know how scared those had me, that if I ever heard the voice of like a little kid or a giggle, like anytime they play him on the movies, I'm just like, no. But now maybe a tsunami warning is actually my top. That might be second, because I'm more likely to hear a tsunami warning than I am to hear a little kid's giggle or voice in the paranormal in this lifetime. Here's hoping I hear neither, but
we know our prank for Belize.
I was going to say, I feel like that would be super jarring. I think my heart would start beating really fast because that is like right in your presence. It's right there. It's with you. And if you have any type of like feeling of ghosts and stuff, you know, that daunting feeling. And so like that is so eerie. And I hate the sounds of things that are like, I don't know what this is. Is this real? Is it in my head? Yeah, that is such a good one. I didn't even think about that. And now I will be very excited for my trip back to Canada.
Just don't stay in that haunted hotel.
Myself.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about haunted hotels, okay?
Too soon. What is something that people love where you just can't on earth for the life of you understand it? I asked that really backwards. What is something you can't understand? Why on earth people would enjoy it?
This one I had a really hard time with, only because anything that popped into my head I can understand the human behavior side. So I'm like, well, I understand why but I think I'm going to change my question slightly because of that, or the question slightly to, I can't understand why they'd be willing to take the risk of enjoying that.
All right.
For the consequence. Because I can understand why people do those things. Is the like, if you're a swinger and you swing with your close group, like your close group of friends. Because I have a friend that their friend group did this. obviously it didn't end well. It ended horribly, about as bad as you can imagine. And I just think for the risk of the like sassiness of it all, or the curiosity of it all, not the necessarily swinging, each to their own, but the within your close friend group, I just think, well, you know that the chances of that ending well are exceptionally slim. Common sense alone tells you that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need to go to a counselor to understand that. And why? Why risk the like amazing friendships that you have?
I agree. I mean, I don't know. To each their own, but it's exactly that. You need to basically feel confident that all people involved are in a space that no emotion or jealousy or anything like that is going to get heightened or triggered.
And and that it would stay consistent the entirety of all the times that you're having sex. And the chances of all of those people being on the same page at the same time for the same length of time is ludicrous.
Right? Can you imagine looking over to your partner and being like, damn, I never had that move? Like,
oh my God.
I was like, that is too much enjoyment. That is too big of a smile, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great one. That is a great one. And I get it. Yes. You definitely can understand why people would think I enjoy or would enjoy, but yeah, not worth the risk for sure.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, the next day, like you're out for brunch. How's Tom?
No one's ordering the sausage. Yeah. That's for damn sure.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Something I find that I wonder why people go into tiny scuba diving, into cliff holes that have no endings and maybe have no way of coming back.
Such a good one.
Well, do we really need to explore that? Is that really what's actually down there? Can we send a machine instead? People die. People are dying. Don't do it anymore.
We really need to see that very specific coral that only grows in the deepest and darkest and coldest of caves. Is that really that worth this terrifyingness of like swimming to your death in claustrophobia?
Exactly.
Worth not knowing.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Things are worth not knowing. Thank you. Yes, I have dreams and nightmares about it because I've watched shows and people are like fully into it, and I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I respect it, but do I? I don't know.
Yeah, that's an excellent one. Mine's a lot more mainstream and perhaps unpopular, but I don't understand why on earth people enjoy paying a ludicrous price for a concert ticket to be in a massive venue where you're like literally can't see the artist that you're like is performing. And truthfully, there's no intimacy in the musical experience. The energy isn't that great because there's always someone taller than you that's standing dancing or like spilling shit on you or belligerent. Exactly. Or singing louder than you can hear the artist. I don't understand why on earth people part with the money. Like, I love live music, small intimate venues for sure, but getting a ticket for $300 at BC Place or whatever, fuck that.
We were just talking about this with friends the other day about literally that of like tickets are so outrageous now. And even to get in the nosebleeds, you're looking at 200 plus. And saying just that, you just watch it on the screen anyways. You could do that at home with like a better better sound system in your actual earlobes. And then, and you don't really
get
feel
it
the energy of it all. Totally with you.
And they're selling out. Like, I get that robots sell the tickets and then people are rebuying them. So I'm like, to me, I'm just kind of like, what are you getting out of this experience where that is worth it? Because I actually can't come to any conclusion that I understand it at all.
Like, see if you're like down on the ground
for the merch,
but outside of, if you're right there, and like, holy crap, if you can afford to be down there, because then you're looking at like $800 to $1,000. I get that, but outside of that, at the prices, nah.
No. When they buy something called nosebleed tickets, sounds pretty bummer to me.
Right? Sounds pretty bummer.
I'll take 3 in the nosebleed section, please.
That'll be 1,500. No problem. Worth it.
I got this.
Right?
You're so right, man.
It's a great one.
Oh shit.
All right, Richelle.
Okay. My next question is relationships and core values. For you guys, is humor a core value to you? And have you ever dated somebody that was not funny?
I married somebody that originally was not funny. Dave's gonna be like, what? All of my boyfriends were really funny and really hilarious, and I only really dated funny people. And none of those worked out very well. I started dating Dave. We would laugh together, but it was more like he was laughing at something stupid I was doing or saying, right? So we laughed together, but he never really made me laugh. Like the odd thing, obviously, he'd say, it would be, like, oh, that was funny. And then about 6 years in, so it wasn't, obviously, it was like, I loved everything else. And I was like, I have enough friends that I laugh with. Like, I'm good. I'm golden. But then I don't know what happened exactly, but it was around the time we moved about a year into living in the Caribbean. And I don't know if the vibe just relaxed him or what, but all of a sudden he became super funny and made me laugh all the time. So this would have been 12 years ago now, something like that. And ever since, he makes me laugh all the time. So it's like this super bonus round that came with Dave that I did not. I was
think
like,
you probably
accepted.
rubbed it off on him.
Maybe.
That's so crazy.
Isn't it? And like, but he does. He makes me laugh all the time. And a lot of times, I think because he realized how fun it was maybe to make me laugh, because he'll do things and I'll say out loud, oh God, that made me laugh. And then he'll say, yeah, I know. That's why I did it. He'll say like, yeah, I knew that'd make you laugh. So I think that's maybe a bit of it is, the positive reinforcement that he cracked some jokes. And I was like, but burst out laughing. He's like, oh, you like that, do you?
Maybe he was learning you and he was learning what made you laugh.
Maybe.
And then he computed and was like, okay, I'm ready. Let's hit this.
Yeah. Like even my friends that knew him when we first started dating, and I had mentioned this and they'd be around him and they're like, holy shit. Yeah. Dave got funny. Like, holy shit. Cause he was just, he was just, him. He's just super chill and he takes in the moment and he loves to laugh at what people are doing. But he so that's
crazy.
Where it is for me.
That's a good story. I like that.
It's probably something I say all the time. Yeah, it's one of my favorite qualities, not just in my partner, but in people, because I think it just shows a similar belief system to mine when you talk to core values where, yes, there's so much serious, but also I think life is an art of play and we don't have it figured out. So it's important to have a sense of humor to get through life. And yeah, Gav makes me laugh every day, several times a day.
One of the funniest humans I've ever met.
He's so funny.
My favorite quality in him
that I know, without a doubt. Richelle, you're also in that category.
Yeah, 1,000%. Both of you. That's why I'm like, I like funny people or people that can be silly or weird and feel. And I use weird as a term. Like to me, weird is normal. We all are fucking weird. People just lock it up all day and are afraid to let it out.
We do not. Yeah, we don't lock that up. No, it's like we feed that beast.
I love you guys.
The weird is the first to the trough.
Gav definitely finds the humor in things. You can see his brain. He's smiling about something and everybody's 100%. Just talking. And it's like, you're like, oh, you're thinking about something funny that just happened that maybe, where did you even find the humor in that, man? Yes. I love it.
That's the brilliant of it is that, the perspective that the lens that in which he watches life is a very different perspective than the average person.
I have often told him I actually keep notes in my iPhone when he says funny things, because so many times, especially if it's about something relatable or happening in the moment, I'm like, that's a comedy bit. And so I
100%.
kid you not, my phone is full of notes. And then he has a buddy who's also a mailman, and they talk on the phone together because he lives in Ontario, and they deliver the mail, but on the phone together. And the two of them together, I have said for so long, they need a comedy podcast. Like when they are together, my phone is full of shit because I'm just crying, laughing. And I'm like, I have to write this down and save it. I wanted them to do it and have it called Going Postal, mainly because that sounds like a serious thing, but it's not.
Love it.
That sounds so funny. So if Gavin wasn't funny at the beginning, would you have passed? Would you have been like, I don't think this is working?
I think so. Yeah. Honestly, it's to me, I think that's a necessary quality in the company I keep for the most part. Even if somebody's not innately funny, someone that definitely can handle either taking a joke or being around, some people who see somebody being silly and they're very judgmental, just kind of like, oh, and I honestly don't think that those are people that I would be able to have a close relationship with.
They would come nowhere near me, so I wouldn't even have a choice.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
Because when you said that, I was like, they run from me. Yeah. So it's not even like I could be like, I'm going to reject you. Like they're just like, no, thank you. It's within a minute of being around me.
We are all so funny and goofy together as well. It just like jives so well. I feel like it is. I didn't realize it was a core value for me. And now that I'm older and I've dated a few people, I'm like, wow, that is so important to me that we can have a good laugh together.
Isn't it? It makes life so much more enjoyable all around.
Yeah, it does. And like, the funny thing is I'm actually with a partner now that I find we actually sometimes will laugh during sex. And I'm just like, how, what are we laughing about? And it's amazing that we can just laugh and like go from it and back into it. And you're just like flowing, but it's a part of it. Oh man, I just feel so happy about that.
It also helps with fights. Because it's a bit of a bomb. Yeah. Because like sometimes if we're in an argument or we're kind of frictiony or the other person's maybe in a mood, we know the lever to pull for humor to kind of at least bring it down enough that we can like be on each other's team again very quickly. And so it's a rarity that we have actual fights. And when I say fights, I even mean like an argument. It's a very rare thing because we're constantly pulling the humor lever and not like poking fun at it or avoiding it, but just like is it this serious? Is it that, like, and that is like a game changer as well.
It's like when I had my period and the Tacofino truck in Tofino was out of Diablo cookies, but it was because I bought one and they accidentally gave it to the person that bought one after. And I was irrationally mad and like causing a bit of a stir on the trip. And like, I didn't get poked fun of, but definitely just kind of like, remember that time you lost your mind over a cookie? Like I was starting to escalate into a similar situation. He's like, do we bring up the Diablo? And it just made me laugh. I was like, right. Ludicrous.
Yes.
Yeah. I've done that with ginger ale and so many other things. And it's kind of like, if you can't laugh at yourself for being just absolutely an animal at some point, it's like, what are we? How are we not human if we don't think that shit is funny,
Yes.
Totally. Well, that was a fun note to end on.
What a great way to start our morning.
You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotovation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, like people will be like, oh my God, I don't floss.
Plus, it'd be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.